In one of the most bizarre twists of 2021, a year that's already, even though we're still fresh into the year, has had lots of twists, but here's a very weird one that I don't think anybody saw coming. Republican freshman Representative Lauren Boebert, who embraces the conspiracy side of the Republican Party and has been a loyal and staunch Trump supporter since day one of his administration, long before she ever even thought about running for Congress. Lauren Boebert this week joined the rest of the congressional delegates from Colorado in begging Joe Biden to investigate Donald Trump. Now, I don't know if anybody's playing 2021 political bingo yet, but if you had Lauren Boebert calls for investigation on Donald Trump, you're going to go ahead and be the winner now, because I don't think anybody would have seen that coming. So what exactly does she want Trump investigated for? Well, his decision to snatch the Space Force away from Colorado and send it to Huntsville, Alabama. Now that seems a little weird, right? Here's the full story. Right now, Spacecom with the U.S. military has had a temporary housing facility, and I don't mean like housing, but temporarily housed the program in Colorado Springs, Colorado. They offered the Trump administration $130 million worth of incentives to make that the permanent home of the Space Force. The Pentagon at the time said, okay, you, Colorado Springs, you get the Space Force. Then, sometime later, Donald Trump comes out and he says, no, you know what? We're going to make the Space Force permanently housed in Huntsville, Alabama, the sleepy little northern Alabama town where, for the record, about half my family lives. I've spent lots of time in Huntsville. It's a beautiful place. It's a, very rural area. But they do actually have a space program there. That's where Space Camp is. If you ever went to Space Camp as a kid, that's the same place. That's Huntsville, Alabama. So yes, there is a reason why Huntsville, Alabama will be the place. But what these Colorado Republicans believe has happened is that Representative Mo Brooks, Republican from Alabama, who actually represents Huntsville, they believe that he got in Trump's ear, worked out some kind of secretive deal with Trump in order to send the Space Force to Huntsville rather than Colorado Springs. Now, Colorado Springs is very affluent, okay? They are not hurting for money by any stretch of the imagination. The same thing cannot be said about Huntsville, Alabama. I mean, we're talking very extensive poverty. So if you were to pick someplace that was about to get a new branch of military that was going to bring in a lot of jobs and a lot of people and a lot of commerce, based on that alone, I actually would defend the decision to put this in Huntsville, Alabama. They need it. That state needs something to kind of kickstart its economy. Whereas Colorado, doing pretty good on its own, but I can also understand if Colorado Springs had been told, you get this. Yes, I understand the anger of them not getting it. You were told you were getting it. You make plans based on that, so sure. And believe it or not, I actually do agree with the decision to call for an investigation into this. Mo Brooks is a shisty little, character here. Very shady little goblin. And it wouldn't put it past him to have worked out some kind of deal in order to defend everything Trump does in exchange for getting the Space Force. So investigate to your heart's content. Do whatever you want with this. The bottom line is, and I think Boebert may have already realized this, you can't take Trump at his word. You can't take him for what he says. And if you try to work with him, eventually he is going to embarrass you. And Republicans from Colorado just found that out the hard way. And now, as usual, they're begging the Democrats to help them out.